Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chattin with CHAP. I'm your host, Ginger Wade, and you will see I have a guest with me. This is Rose-Anne Uwague, right?
That's it. You did it.
Woohoo! So we have some really fun, exciting things afoot here at CHAP, and Rose-Anne is on with me today to chat with those about those things. So let's start, like we always do, with our guests introducing themselves. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Rose-Anne.
Thank you so much, Ginger. Hello, everyone. I am Rose-Anne Uwague. I am first and foremost a Christian. I always like to lead in with the fact that I'm a woman who loves God and I'm a follower of Jesus. I am a wife of 10 years, and we have three beautiful boys. Our boys are 9, 7, and 8 months. So yes, we definitely started all the way over again. And I'm a homeschool mom. That's actually one of the reasons that I'm so excited to be here because I get to talk about all things homeschooling and my journey. I'm a productivity coach, and all that means is that I help women to try to figure out how to manage personal and professional lives, also homeschooling lives or side
Mm,
businesses, passions, whatever they're doing, and
mhm.
really not sacrifice their sanity in the process. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Wow, maybe I need some of your coaching. No. So, Roseanne had this really great idea. She wants to share her call to homeschool, and she suggested that I do the same because it's been a while since I shared about myself, and many of you are new. We have had so many new homeschoolers over the past few years, and since this show is 5 years old now, I might not have shared my call to homeschool recently. So, years ago, okay, so now my oldest is 21. For those of you who don't know me, know those facts. I have a 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So we still have elementaries the whole way through. We've graduated too. It's been really great. But way back in the day, we took a natural childbirth class, and our instructor was a homeschooler. So she just kind of opened this whole world of differentness, right? Organics, the crunchy mom stuff, like everything. Like it was just everything. So we really got to talking about those things because my social school experience was not good. Like it wasn't healthy for me. And my husband's educational school experience was really boring and he hated it. And it was just, it was awful for him. So we kind of put those two opinions together and thought, well, maybe we should look into this homeschool stuff. So he had a student, he works at Elizabethtown College, and he had a student working for him in the computer department who was homeschooled, and he was going to college, and he was a homeschool student. So even back then, I mean, goodness, that's, 15, more than 15 years ago. So
Yeah.
homeschoolers were still kind of like, homeschooling, can you go to college? Do you know anything? So we met with him and learned some things, and that was really really great. And then God was continuing to work on our hearts just personally, and then we met the folks at CHAP. We got connected there and really started to learn and have our eyes opened to what God wanted us to do through the people speaking in the homeschool circuit, in the
Mm,
homeschool world. And he just really grabbed our hearts and said, this is the thing. Like, this is how we want to raise our children. We want them close to us. We want them to know Jesus and to live for Jesus, because Steve didn't know Jesus growing up. He met him when he met me. And I wasn't really close in my walk with Jesus until really he like made the rubber hit the road for me.
mm,
So I really grew once I got to know Steve. So that was our call to homeschool, and he just kind of was just opening scripture to us and opening truth to us, and homeschool was part of that package. So we like hook, line, and sinker, 2 feet. Let's go running, the whole thing. Never doubted, and it's still our passion to this day, as you can see. Still
yes.
homeschooling, 4 kids to go yet, 2 graduated, and it's great. I mean, I wouldn't, people always said early on, well, are you going to do the whole way through? So many people like go through 8th grade and then high school. Oh, high school. No, I'm
Yeah.
just still going, still going. I'm still planning on going.
Yeah.
So that's my little story. How
I
about you?
love that. I love hearing people's stories because, there's some people who are like, oh, even before I had babies, I knew I wanted to homeschool. I just knew from the moment I was 10 that I wanted to homeschool, right? And then you have the other people who God he's like knocking on their heart, like tapping them, and they're like, the Joan is like, I
Mhm.
am not going to Nineveh. I am not doing this, right? I'm somewhere in between. So my homeschool story, I'm definitely not one of the ones who always knew that we wanted to homeschool. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, I forget because the pandemic just really messes up
Yeah.
my
It's
frame of
like this
reference.
time warp of like, I don't even know. You can't even tell time anymore.
I know. So it's really not 3 years because the pandemic has been 3 years already. So maybe 5 years ago, my husband started talking about homeschooling and he was like, oh, we should homeschool the kids. And for us, what that meant is the kids would be home and someone would be home teaching them. That was our version of homeschooling. We were both working in New York City, living in New Jersey, and
Wow.
we just thought that we'd have someone come in and they'd have home-centered,
Mhm.
Christ-centered education. So fast forward, the pandemic happened and everyone had to homeschool.
Yep.
And it
Yep.
it showed me a lot, showed me gaps, it showed me things that were positive as well, but it also showed me that it was possible. And even then, I was still like, okay, school is back open. Okay, kids, go back to school. So fast forward to 2021, I quit my job. I was working in human resources for about 10 years and I quit my job. And I'm like, okay, God, so now it's time to build a business. I'm going to be doing this coaching thing. And then I got my first really big client and I was like, okay, this is great. And I felt this tug on my heart to pull my older son out of school. And I'm like, no,
Ah.
God, you don't understand. We already talked about
La,
this.
la,
I'm
la, la,
going,
la.
right. Pretty much. I'm like, so remember the conversation that I'm going to build my business and you're going to help me do that? Like, do you remember that timeline? And it's not one of those things where you go to your friend and you're like, I think God wants me to homeschool. I was clear. I was so sure. And I was like, okay, I have to pull the kid out of school. So I told my husband, I said, I really think God is leading me to pull our oldest son out of school. What do you think? And, he was like completely open. So I pulled him out of school like November. And, we had the holidays. So by January, I started
Mhm.
homeschooling him alone. I was using homeschooling curriculum, but I wasn't a part of a community or anything. At that time, my middle one, who was the youngest at the time, the
Mhm.
younger at the time, he was in kindergarten. So I was like, okay, he'll finish out school, then we'll figure out what to do because I was clear that it was only for him at the moment.
Gotcha.
So he started saying, can I be homeschooled too? And I'm like, okay. I was like, well, you're in kindergarten. Let's finish it out. Let's get your diploma. Let's walk across the stage with the whole graduation thing. Fast forward, he was counting down. He wanted to be homeschooled too. So by June, when he finished kindergarten, I started looking for communities. I called HSLDA, got a load of information. And I was like, okay, so this is official. I'm a homeschool mom. Like, I'm doing this, right? I joined communities. I started meeting up for play dates and everything. And it has been all the things. Like how motherhood is this paradox, like it's so rewarding and so challenging. Homeschool is the same
Yes.
thing. It's like the best
Yes.
thing ever. And then it's
Yes.
like, wait, why am I doing this again? Oh, because God told me to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Like my morning, like I was telling you, my morning it was challenging. Yeah, it was challenging morning. But when you're in the middle of all those challenging things, I mean, you work through it. And then when you're looking back on it, you're like, that's exactly why I wanted them with me.
Yeah.
It's exactly why I wanted them close because I want them hearing the messages that I just poured into them from the word.
Yeah.
And what I wish I knew when I was their age, the encouragement that I needed to be the person that God made me to be when I was their age, which is so hard. I mean, you're not at like the puberty times yet, are you, with your kids? I mean, that's just like, so but it's so good, and it's so good
Yeah.
to have them close and then pour those messages in because the world's messages are so bad.
You know.
Yeah, so it's
But
so
you do make a
wonderful.
really good point about having them in the moment with you. Because like even today,
Yeah.
because we were going to record, I said, okay, kids, we're going to go to the library early. We're going to finish everything by 11:30. And then whatever we don't finish, we'll do after I'm finished with you, right? So on the way home, I gave my middle guy the answers to a math worksheet, and my oldest one was reading them. And then I think he was kind of making it fun. Like he liked when he got it wrong. So he could like,
Mhm.
eh.
Ah.
And then, like in the beginning, it was like, okay, it's fun, whatever. But after a while, I'm like, no, you're actually hurting his feelings. And he worked really hard on it. So in that moment, I had to choose the fruit of the spirit of, like, how do I respond in this area? Because what I wanted
Mhm.
to share with him is, I know this might seem fun, I know it might seem funny, but you're actually being unkind. And that's hurting his feelings because he put a lot of effort into it, right?
Mhm.
So the Mary Poppins homeschool mom wants to say, honey, I know this is fun for you, but your older brother, blah, 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 you want to share it. That's not how it came out. I ended up being unkind and mean to him by telling him what he
Oh,
did with his
yes.
brother.
No,
I'm
I
like,
get it.
but at least I can go back and say, just like how I was telling you to be kind to your brother, I need to be kind to you too and choose my
Mm-hmm.
words, right? So it's not like
Mm-hmm.
I blew up or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but I was like, I could have chosen a nicer way to say that he wasn't being
Yeah.
nice, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a part of
Stop
homeschooling, like
that!
being
Be
nice,
nice to your brother.
right? Right? They get to see
I've
you
done it.
raw. Yeah, they get to see the real you. They get to see
Yeah.
Jesus forgiving me forgiving them forgiving me, and it's real life.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. And honestly, one of the biggest lessons the kids learn is when they see humility in their parents and they see their parents doing the thing that we're training them to do, right? If it's the whole thing that so many people are like, you're so hypocritical. You say all this stuff and you don't do, but when you're living it out and you're
Yeah,
doing exactly the things you're teaching your kids, that is so impactful. And you just don't get those opportunities when they're not with you all the time because you want it to be happy, joy, joy, fun, fun because you never see
exactly.
them, or you're so busy you don't have time, or you're exhausted, or whatever it is. You don't have the capacity to deal with things like we should. So
Yeah, because even when
that's
you were talking about your frantic morning, in my head, I was also thinking, I'm also happy that you didn't have to go drop off 4 kids to school and then figure out when when
yeah,
to pick them up, right? So there's a
yeah,
flexibility, even though
yeah,
it's still hard. There are benefits, there are
yeah.
limitations and drawbacks of everything, just as there are advantages and benefits, but the benefits usually outweigh.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It might take a while to see them too. You have to be patient.
That's
That's one
right.
thing I'm learning too. Long haul. Long haul is important. So everybody, that's a little bit about our call to homeschooling. And we hope that you can relate to those things. I'm sure you can. I'm
Oh yeah.
sure there's some part of our story that you're very, very connected to. So what we want to talk about now is how it is that Ro and I met and what it is that we're up to. So I said Rose-Anne. She liked me call her Ro because that's fun. I like nicknames. So how did we get connected? You want to share that story?
So I'll share all the way from the back end. Like
Okay,
I said
that'd be great.
earlier, I reached out to HSLDA and I joined HSLDA and I got on their newsletter. Fast forward, I get an email saying that there's a convention happening called CHAP. I'm like, oh, Christian Homeschoolers Association of Pennsylvania. That sounds great. So I forwarded it to my girlfriend and like, hey, let's go. And she's like, okay. So we pack up our 5 kids, my 3 boys and her 2 girls. We book a hotel, register for the conference, and then fast forward, we attended the conference. And I'll share later about how I feel about the conference, but that's how I found out about you, like your podcast and your
Mm,
speaking
mm-hmm,
that you did at
mm-hmm.
CHAP and just everything that you were doing with the organization. So that I got an email from CHAP now because it became a part of your newsletter
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
saying, oh, we're looking for an advisory board member. And I'm like, well, I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of thoughts to share. But because I live in Jersey, let me be clear. Let me not try to weave my way in. Let me share very transparently. Hey, I love chat, but I don't live in Pennsylvania. Would this be, a possibility, or would that be a requirement for me to be a part of the advisory board team? So fast forward, we jumped on a call with Ginger and her husband, and we just kind of thought through possibilities and ideas, and we had such a great brainstorming session.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then Ginger said, well, how would you feel about a show? Before she said that, God had been telling me record content. And I actually started recording content. I was recording all these content, and my friends would say to me, so what are you going to do with it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to record it. So I even had one friend who I did some shows with, and I just had them like, I'm going to leave them on Google Drive until I figure out what I need to do with it. So when you said that, I'm like, God, look at you preparing me for, something so amazing. So when you said it, there was no pause, there was no hesitation. I was like, yep, sign me up, I'm in.
Yeah. I don't think I knew that part. I don't think I knew that you had recorded things already. I do know you said that, but I don't think it sunk into my brain. Like I didn't know that you actually have like
Yeah,
shows already ready. That is just amazing. I love that. I love how God works.
I
I'm like
know.
in a little tear here. I love that kind of stuff. I just think it's so awesome.
But I will say that's
So
not normally how God works with me. It's not normally, oh, here's everything all prepared and ready to go. Normally it's
yeah.
one piece of instruction. I'm like, so what next, God? And he's like, do the one thing I told you. I'm like, okay, fine.
Okay, I'll wait. Yeah,
But this was
exactly. But
exciting.
then when the opportunity came, you're like, oh, I can do that. I've been doing
Right.
that. Like this makes sense.
It was immediate
So
alignment.
yeah, it was so cool. And like you said, we had the best conversation. We're like, this is really, really great. And I'm super excited about the idea of another mom who's, just so invested in this. And I do love that you're in Jersey because things are a little bit different and we do want to support New Jersey. And we talk so much about the law here because it's so strict.
Yeah.
But you have a freedom there in New Jersey. So yeah, I just love that we can share our different perspectives. And I think it's going to be so helpful to you out there who are watching, um, to receive the content from both of us from our different
Yeah.
perspectives. And sometimes we'll be together doing things together, and sometimes we'll be recording separately. So the idea is, yeah, we'll be doing things on different days or whatever. And really the best way to know what we're doing is to stay plugged in at Facebook and on the e-news. Our new e-news editor is doing a great job, and he is sharing my content that I have currently, but obviously we'll be sharing Rose-Anne's content too. And so you can be aware of things there. Honestly, the newsletter is really the best place to get connected with what we're doing, convention, other events that we're doing, articles, are things like that. So it's really the best place to find out what it is that we're up to and what new things are coming out. Facebook, I don't trust Facebook. We're posting this on Facebook, but it just doesn't get out to the people. We have 10,000 people following us on Facebook, and there's such a small portion of people that see
Mm.
things and view things. So I'm so thankful for all of you who are on Facebook. Um, but I know our content doesn't get out to you like it should. So really the e-news is the place to make sure that you find our things. Of course, we have the YouTube channel also, and we have a Spotify. Chat with Chap is on Spotify, which is how you would find us. And our content will just stay on those same channels, the YouTube channel and the Spotify channel. Do you call it a channel on Spotify? I don't even know what you call it. It's just a podcast. I don't know. So it's like one podcast spot. We're going to put all the content in one spot so you don't have to go trying to find us all everywhere. So really, we're just looking for what God is having for us. So what do you think, Ro? It could be changing frequently or flexible, or what do you think about that?
So as you were talking, it made me think of the fact that parenting and motherhood and homeschooling is a journey. So just like how
Absolutely.
sometimes, there are ebbs and flows and things,
Mm-hmm.
things change. I think it's the same thing with our whatever we're doing, right? So we're
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
trusting God. God connected us. We know that we're supposed to be doing something together. So watch the journey. Like
Yeah.
Ginger said, sometimes you'll see individual content, sometimes you'll see us together. Maybe you send in some comments saying, hey, we'd love to see this, and you share your suggestions. But watch the journey. We're trusting the process and we're enjoying the process. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but this part is actually fun. With the show part,
Yeah.
I find this to be fun.
This
But
is fun.
yeah, I would say just like homeschooling and parenting is a journey, what we're doing right now is a journey and we're seeing where God leads us.
Yes. Yes. So I'll give you a little backstory that you don't know. When we started this show 5 years ago, it was 2018. Dee and I just got together. Dee was our convention coordinator, and she and I are close friends. We both live here in Elizabethtown. And I just said, what if we do this show, this Facebook Live? It was like new to us, right? It had probably been around for a while, but we're a little slow, right? We're behind the times a little bit. Let's do this live video thing. It seemed like the cool thing, and you didn't have to be all gussied up, and you just get on there and do your thing, right? Be real. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. And my husband likes to plan things. Well, what about this? And have a plan. And I'm like, psh, we're just gonna go do
Just
it.
do it. You figure out the
So
plan
we
here.
did. We just went and did it, and it just grew and changed. And like when God had led Dee to go do other things, I kept doing it by myself. So it morphs and changes. It started out
Yeah.
being like 6 to 10 minutes of content. Now I roughly do 20. So it really is whatever God wants it to be. And as he leads us, he gives us topic ideas and all that. And we just share what it is that he puts on our hearts. Because a lot of times I'll be studying scripture or whatever and be like, wow, like this is just speaking to me. There's got to be someone else that would benefit from this.
Yeah.
And that's why I do a lot of those things, so Ro and I are looking to do that kind of a thing, support you from where we're at and what we're experiencing. Or if we hear things from you or have conversations with people out there, as we answer questions and things, be like, there's got to be other people with these questions. We want to share that with you too, so that you feel more supported and more equipped to do this homeschool journey. It's absolutely a journey. I call it that all the time, Ro. Because it is. It's like you never know where you're going to be or what you're going to go. You think of Pilgrim's Progress and all the different places that he went and the things that he went through. And it is a journey, but the reward is just incredible. So I'm looking
I
forward to
love
the
it.
fun.
Yay.
So with that in mind, everybody out there, there's one thing that has popped up in our discussions about our new shows, and that is the role of an upload manager. So I record things, Ro records things, and we're posting it out in all these different places. And right now I'm managing those things, changing things to MP3 format, adding my little, if you watch on YouTube, you'll see the little header my daughter made for me in the front that has a little bit of music, and then it jumps into the show. So if you are talented in those types of things and want to make our podcast, edit things or give us a good header, footers, whatever, and help us with those things, we would love to have, I don't know what you would call it, upload manager,
Yeah.
content manager, I don't know what you would call it, but someone who just really enjoys formatting things and then scheduling and posting them out. We would love to have support in that way. Like I said, it's something I can do. I'm not awesomely skilled at it. I get it out there. I get it out there.
That matters.
So yeah, if that's something that really sounds interesting to you, it could be a mom and dad, a student, someone who wants to get some skills under their belt so they have it on their resume, whatever, something like that. You can reach out to staff at chaponline.com. We have a contact form at chaponline.com, or comment on any of this video wherever it is that you hear it or watch it, and we'll keep our eye out for your comments. So that's really what we have to share with you today. Fun and exciting things. Is there anything else, Rose-Anne, that you want to share with everyone before we wrap it up?
I am still so tickled that we both showed up in green, and I just need to let everyone know that this was not planned.
It was so not planned. I think it's so funny. It's Green Day. And I told Rose-Anne, I said, look, I wore my angels because I don't get to wear my angels very much during Christmas season. So I know it's a little early, but I got them on.
And that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so parents out there, thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for some fun things that we're going to be doing here, sharing new content. And next week, we are going to be talking about Giving Tuesday, because it's after Thanksgiving next week already, which is
Yeah.
just crazy. But we are going to be on again together next week, sharing some of the things that you guys have shared with us about how we have blessed you, which is so amazing and wonderful. So we're going to be sharing some really fun stories with you next week. So hopefully you'll tune in and keep it on our Facebook page, because Courtney is posting things all week long. And next Tuesday, she's got some videos and stuff that she's going to be posting with testimonials and things like that. So you'll be blessed by the stories. It's really wonderful to hear how people have been helped. So it's Thanksgiving week. I don't want to forget that. So remember, teaching your children to be grateful and thankful is one of the biggest things. So whatever it is, you go around the table and say something you're thankful for at the dinner table, or you start a new habit of adding Thanksgiving to your prayer every night, or whatever it is, something new to keep us focused on being thankful is so important. And to be thankful that God has given us this opportunity to train our children to follow Christ in all of life as we learn ourselves to follow Christ in all of life. That is our purpose and our goal. So hopefully that encourages you, and you have a wonderful time this Thanksgiving with family and friends, giving thanks to God, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, and whatever it is He's working in your life. He is good, and He has
Amen.
your best interest at hand. So
Amen.
thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.